what sucks is that because I joined at my age, most people my age are way higher ranked than me, so I can't
Mm-hmm.
date them for that simple fact. Um, or they're officers. So
Right.
my dating pool in the military is like slim to none. And I
And I'm guessing
refuse.
you don't date like 22, 23 year olds, 24 year
Oh
olds.
God, no. No, 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 no. No.
uh,
I don't mind dating younger than me, but when you're like in that range, no way.
yeah.
I and now I'm 32. Like when I was 30, but now I'm 32. Like no, I need to date someone in their 30s because you're at a whole different mindset when you're in your like late 20s, early 30s,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I it sounds I don't want this to come off like really
Let it
conceited
out.
or
Let it
whatever,
out.
but I never so when I say I have high standards, what
Mm-hmm.
I mean by that is I didn't even have standards to begin with. Like at least I didn't realize I didn't have standards like until like I joined and I did a lot of like self-reflection on like all my relationships and
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of healing these last 3 years. So I've been single for 3 years. I haven't been in a relationship since that relationship. And because I was like, you know what, you need to fix yourself first, because clearly the common denominator in all these relationships is you. Not that it's all
Mm-hmm.
my fault; it takes two people, right? But
Right.
um, I knew I needed to work on myself instead of just hopping into the next relationship. And but I'm so happy in my life right now that as much as it would be awesome to share a life with someone, I think I'm just scared of someone just stomping all over my peace. Like I have this apartment. It is everything is in a certain place. I've
Mm-hmm.
decorated it the way that suits me, that likes me. The thought of like eventually someone wanting to move in with me and them like putting their stuff in a place that I don't like, or they don't
Right.
like this color, they want that color. Like I don't know if I know how to share anymore because I'm so set in my ways.
mm.
I think I'm nervous. I'm sure the right person, those things won't matter. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous that I finally reached a place that I've worked so hard to get to,
Mm-hmm.
and all it takes is one person to mess that up.
Interesting. Let's talk about those standards that you so quickly mentioned. Um, but I'm going to ask it in a different way,
Hmm.
mainly because I want to avoid certain cliche answers that you might give.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm trying to be very specific. But
yeah.
what I'm curious about is what traits or what standards are you unwilling to negotiate with?
So the two that come off, the first two things that I think about, like if I were to meet someone and I think like, would this be someone I would potentially date? Is I don't want someone with kids. I think you share this in common. Um,
Mm-hmm. right.
and this may or may not be a deal breaker, but I would prefer someone that's never been married before. That's actually very important to me, but it's
Why is that?
not a deal breaker. I have a weird mentality about people who've been married before because so I'm someone that like I waited. Like I
Mm-hmm.
made sure that and it's just the way my parents raised me, don't have children out of wedlock, make
Mm-hmm.
sure it's the right person before you marry them, that kind of thing. And so, and I know marriage is a topic you're always is very controversial for you. um,
Yeah, I love it.
marriage is very deeply important to me. I
Mm-hmm.
actually hate how society these days has trivialized marriage. Like the idea that so many people, especially in the military, get married just so they can get BAH or go to a
Right.
different base because they hate it. Like literally my flight, both my flights, I've been in two flights in BMT. 95% of the girls were under 21. And this
Wow.
is a true fact. 90% of all the girls in both flights are now married or have children right now out of wedlock. I would
Sounds
say
about right.
more of them have gotten married.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those marriages aren't true or not going to work out, but we're in the military and the divorce rates are already bad. They're even
Mm-hmm.
worse if you're a military member, and they're even worse if you're a military member and a junior enlisted at that.
Right.
So the reality is those relationships aren't going to last. I'm sorry. That's
I mean,
just
it's facts. It's fact.
I'm not
And
trying to like shit on people's dreams and their love and their bliss. And I'm not trying to be a jealous person. It has nothing to do with that. It's just, it's facts. So, and it makes me angry because, like I said, it cheapens marriage.
Mm-hmm.
People, I hate that it's just something like someone just gets an infatuation
Mm-hmm.
and they just put a ring on it. I feel like it cheapens the meaning for it. So, anyways,
Yeah. So you mentioned you don't want somebody that's been married,
right. Oh,
and
so the
then
reason why I
yeah,
don't want
nobody with
someone
kids.
married. So I think as a man, and I'm trying to put myself in a guy's shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because men are the ones that traditionally are the ones that propose, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get to a point where you love someone so much that you want to spend the rest of your life with them every day until the day you die, to ask that
Mm-hmm.
person to marry you is such a profound moment. It is such a, I think, a special feeling and a strong feeling to
Mm-hmm.
have that, to be like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, and to get to that point where you propose and ask that, because that's essentially what you're saying.
Right.
If someone has said that to someone before and it didn't work out, and they might potentially say that to me in the future,
Yeah.
I'm instinctually going to think, well, you said it before and you were wrong.
Right.
Or the fact that, in my opinion, that should be a feeling you should only have once in your life. And the fact that that feeling has been used on someone else, it might sound selfish and stupid, but I feel like when they're going to, if they ask me, it's going to feel cheapened because you've already
Mm.
asked another woman this exact same question. So how am I special? Which might trigger a lot of people who have been divorced, but I've actually had this conversation with friends of mine who are divorced. I'm like, this is why you should never rush into a marriage, because you're not making it fair for potentially the second person that comes into your life. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's also
Yeah.
why,
Yeah.
and so that same mindset is why I don't want to be with someone with kids. Because if I have a child with you, think about all the emotions that goes into having a child. Like, as a woman, telling your husband that you're pregnant, and that's the
Mm.
first child for both of you, the amazing emotions, and then all the emotions and everything you go through being pregnant, first
Mm.
time seeing the baby delivered, the first steps, the whole experience. If someone already has a kid, especially if they have multiple kids, and then you get pregnant and it's your first child, you're going to look at that person and be like, this isn't special for you because you've
Right.
already been through this, and that's
Facts.
not fair to me. I
Mm.
want that experience with someone for the first time. And that might sound selfish. It is. I 100%.
No.
And I'm 32, so I already know that I'm severely limiting my dating pool by saying those two things. But
Mm.
that's something I personally cannot compromise on, because if I have to think that you've already had this experience with someone else, it's going to haunt me. I know how I think. It's going to haunt me.